Imagine waking up one morning, checking your social media, and seeing Americans everywhere saying, Malaysia, wow, this country is unbelievable. And you think, wait, what changed? Why are so many people from the United States suddenly praising Malaysia in 2025? Well, today, I'm going to take you inside the reasons Americans are talking about Malaysia like never before. And trust me, some of these reasons will surprise even Malaysians themselves. Let's start with the moment that triggered it all. In early 2025, several American travel creators posted videos saying Malaysia is one of the most stress-free countries they've ever visited. Not just beautiful, not just affordable, stress-free. That word caught everyone's attention. Americans are used to fast life, high costs, noise, pressure, so when they come to Malaysia and experience calm, balance, and friendliness, it hits differently. They feel something they rarely feel back home, being welcomed without judgment. But here's the twist, Americans didn't just praise the beauty. They praised something deeper, Malaysia's spirit. The smiles. The way people help strangers. The way Malaysians say, tak apa, or, never mind, all good, even during small inconveniences. It's a kind of emotional warmth Americans don't experience often, and it stays with them long after the trip. Many say they felt emotionally safe in Malaysia. Think about that, emotional safety. That's not something money can buy. Breakout question, if you had to describe Malaysia in one word, what would it be? Comment your answer. I'm curious how Malaysians describe their own home. At around the same time, something else happened. American digital nomads, remote workers, and young professionals started recommending Malaysia as Asia's most underrated base. And why? 3 reasons kept repeating: stability, safety, and modern conveniences. Americans were shocked to see how smooth daily life is here, public transport improving, roads well maintained, malls everywhere, reliable internet, 24-hour food, and yes, the famous Malaysian efficiency when it comes to food delivery. Many Americans said Malaysia combines Asian warmth with Western convenience, and they didn't expect that. Mini hook, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Americans praised Malaysia for something Malaysians sometimes take for granted: respect. Respect between cultures. Respect for different religions. Respect for space. Respect for diversity. Americans who come from a divided and politically tense society felt something refreshing here: harmony. They see Muslims, Chinese, Indians, and many other ethnic groups living together, eating together, celebrating side by side. To them, that's not normal, it's inspiring. And then came the food. Oh yes, the food. Here's the thing, Americans love to hype food trends. Tacos, ramen, kimchi, sushi, these all had their boom in the US. But in 2025, Malaysian food became the next global obsession. People raved about nasi lemak, char kway teow, roti canai, nasi kandar, and even sendal. What shocked Americans was the mix of flavors: sweet, spicy, smoky, creamy, all in one meal. One American chef said Malaysian food is the most fun food on earth. Another said, Malaysia ruined American food for me. And Malaysians just smiled. Breakout question, what is the one Malaysian dish you think Americans must try first? Around this point in 2025, news articles in the US began highlighting Malaysia as a country with a surprisingly strong middle class, fast tech adoption, and an economy that stays steady even when the world gets shaky. Americans saw Malaysia as a place where life feels balanced, modern but not overwhelming, affordable but not cheap quality, advanced but still human. Some American retirees even started calling Malaysia Asia's best-kept retirement secret. That surprised a lot of people. But when they compared the cost of living, weather, healthcare, and lifestyle, Malaysia came out on top. Mini twist, and wait till you hear this, Americans praised Malaysia's manners. Yes, manners. They liked how Malaysians avoid confrontation, how people talk with kindness, how even disagreements sound polite here. Many Americans say Malaysia softened them. They left the country feeling calmer, more patient, and less stressed. Imagine that, a country that heals people just by being itself. But the biggest conversation in 2025 came from American students and families. They praised Malaysia for education opportunities, safe cities, multicultural exposure, and English usage. Parents loved that their kids could learn about 3 major cultures in one country. Students loved the affordability, the weather, and the sense of community. One parent said Malaysia feels like Asia with training wheels, easy to adapt to, but still incredibly rich in culture. Breakout question: if you had American relatives, which Malaysian experience would you show them first? And then there's nature. Americans praised Malaysia's rainforests, islands, wildlife, and landscapes that look untouched and pure. They were amazed that a country can be so developed yet still protect some of the oldest rainforests on the planet. Americans love national parks, but when they saw places like Sabah, Sarawak, and Terengganu, they said, "This is next level." And can we talk about Malaysian hospitality for a moment? Americans were stunned by how locals guide tourists, explain food, share stories, and even invite visitors to weddings, open houses, or festivals. They say Malaysians don't treat tourists as customers, they treat them as guests. That is rare in today's world. Then came the final reason Americans praised Malaysia in 2025, one that nobody saw coming. Many Americans said Malaysia reminded them of something they lost back home: community. Togetherness. The feeling that people still care about each other. In the US, people are more isolated now, everyone stays busy, glued to screens, or overwhelmed by work. But in Malaysia, they saw families eating together, neighbors chatting, kids playing outside, markets full of life, and people who still value time with others. That touched Americans deeply. They didn't just admire Malaysia, they learned from Malaysia. Breakout question: what part of Malaysian culture do you think the world should learn from? By the time 2025 progressed, a clear pattern appeared. Americans weren't praising Malaysia because it was cheap, or trendy, or exotic. They praised it because Malaysia made them feel something they don't feel often anymore: warmth, harmony, beauty, and balance. Malaysia became a reminder that a country doesn't need to be the richest or the loudest to be loved, it just needs to be real. And Malaysia is real. The people are real. The culture is real. The values are real. So if you're Malaysian watching this, let me tell you something Americans are learning in 2025, your country is extraordinary. The world is finally seeing what you've always had: kindness, diversity, beauty, and strength. And maybe, just maybe, Malaysia's greatest achievement is not its buildings, its malls, or its economy. It's the feeling it gives people. A feeling of home. And if you enjoyed this journey, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Not because it helps the video, but because your stories help the world understand Malaysia even more.